Hey, um, hey, good evening. It's your girl, Jersey Love Steph or Stephanie. And wherever you are, I just want to welcome you in. I don't know if this will get a copyright for the picture, but here, how about a bonsai? I don't own the copyrights. This is bonsai trees. Let's see if I can turn it so you can see it. These are beautiful. Bonsai trees really are really intense. Really, or hey Barry, how are you? Welcome in. I don't know if you ever seen bonsai trees. This isn't what I'm going to talk about, but I didn't know what I can put where I'm not going to get in trouble, like a copyright or something. This is a bonsai book. Got this at Barnes and Nobles. Um, I wanted to just have a talk about domestic violence, and it affects a lot of people around the world, whether you're children or whether you're an adult. Domestic violence is in the household. It could happen in the workplace too, but it's more domestic, is like being in the household with that person behind closed doors. And I did put it on subscribe time for 5 minutes, just in case anybody comes in here and wants to just, spam the chat, they can subscribe. But this is a safe place because a lot of people, I don't know what you're going through, but if you're watching this, maybe you're in a situation where you're not really sure. And that's the thing with domestic violence, you don't really know. Sometimes it's like a love-hate relationship, Okay, so between partners, it could be like if you look at a power and control wheel, like women's space will give you this, where we'll show you like the way domestic violence is, and it doesn't always have to be physical. It could be mental, and mental abuse is worse than physical abuse, but it's both messed up. But when somebody gets in your head, it like messes with your psyche. I don't know the exact thing, but it messes with your psyche. So if you find yourself like, it's there's so many ways. Okay, for example, if you go out with your friends, let's say for example, and your partner just consistently calls and just doesn't. Hey Christina, welcome in. When in Walker Christina, I was talking about domestic violence, but let's say all right, this is just a couple examples, but if you go on like the power and control, well, they'll show you things. And sometimes we don't want it. It's embarrassing. We feel like embarrassed, but there's no shame. Okay. That's why I'm trying to talk about this. So let's say you go out with your friends, there has to be trust to a certain point, because if there's never any trust in a relationship, it's like the other person's going to make you feel like you're walking on eggshells all the time, even though you're not doing anything wrong. It's okay to have time to yourself, and it's okay to go places without the other person. It's actually very healthy in a relationship to actually go places and not have your significant other. It's perfectly fine. And this is what they'll talk about. It's very important to build, not put it's not that you don't want to put into your significant other, okay? But there is relationships that you need, like girlfriends need girlfriends and boyfriends need, you know what I'm saying, like guy friends, vice versa. And it shouldn't be that you feel scared when you go hang out with them, or that you're on eggshells because you spend maybe an hour more, and this could be signs of control. It's like a controlling thing. So if you start to see, that's like red flags right away. Of course, if you have plans with the person, and they're just texting to find out, hey, what's going on, that's one thing. But if they're consistently texting you every 10 minutes, that's a bit excessive, and that's very controlling. And there's no freedom in that. You can't even have a conversation. That's one sign. Another sign is, I some people do have all the money in one account, and everybody knows exactly what they spend, but you should be able to have your money, and you should be able to spend it without have to accounting for every single penny. And there is a way you could put money aside, like out of your taxes. If you work, you can withhold money and have it. for a rainy day. So you have money saved. You should be able to have money saved for yourself. That's perfectly able. Sometimes people don't want us to have anything, and they want us to count to every little penny. That's very controlling. That is a sign of the power and control wheel. It's a domestic violence. Now, it could be going, domestic violence can be the children abusing the parents, which sounds ridiculous, right? But when you have elderly people, sometimes the kids abuse the parents. It's just like manipulation and stuff, which is wrong, or take the, I don't know, but I'm talking. The only thing I could say is like it's good to be independent in a way in a relationship because then you have some independence, for yourself. But if you ever find yourself like in a situation, and sometimes it's really, you might feel embarrassed because your partner is consistently yelling at you or like degrading you, and it winds up beating you down. It doesn't, it's not meant to be anything good. That's what it does. It's meant to make you feel so tiny and take everything out of you, so you're worn down. It just wears you down. That's not what a healthy relationship is. A healthy relationship is somebody that's going to give in to you and build you up and encourage you to go after your dreams, not try to knock everything down that you're doing, and not try to make you feel so tiny and, like as if you don't have your mind about you, and you can't do anything right and stuff, and it's like they never have faults to themselves. This is like a sign of domestic violence. It's not physical, but it's verbal abuse. There's two kinds of abuse. So it's emotional abuse. And giving you the silent treatment for days on end is that is emotional abuse, because there should be communication. And if you find some people are very immature and petty, and if you've been in a relationship for a long time and it's like that, you definitely have to go for some kind of counseling. I can't tell you what you need to do, but it is manipulation and it's emotional abuse. So there has to be some kind of counseling with that to break down those walls, because that's not a healthy relationship at all. And you don't just, nobody deserves that. Hey, Golden Egg King, how are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for coming in. It's not a healthy relationship. And people can change, but it's up to each individual. We could want somebody to change, but if they're not willing to go to counseling with us, or they're not willing to acknowledge that there's a problem, it's going to be very hard to change. Think about it. If we don't think that we have a problem, there's no reason for us to change. And sometimes this is like a learned behavior from people, and it's like a continued cycle they grew up. So there has to be a break in the cycle, but there is warning signs. Maybe you didn't see this stuff and now you're starting to see it. But unless the person is willing to go for help, they're not going to change, because you really need a professional to come in. Jesus can change us, but you really need a professional to stand in the gap and to work with both of you. And both people have to be honest. And it's all about, we can forgive, but you should be able to be your own person. We have, our identity is, we have each individual. It's okay to like different stuff. We don't have to like the same exact things. It's good to have each individual. But if you find yourself that you're in a situation that you really need to get out, there's three things that I know, okay? For women or men, there's women's space, and it's a confidential shelter. They don't take you right there because it's got to be something that they got to make sure nobody's following you. So they'll screen you and everything. And it's for women and children, but they also can help men too. There's resources that can also help men. So, like if you find yourself, in a bad situation and it's just getting violent, and you just, maybe it's emotional abuse, and you just know that you need help, don't hesitate to reach out, because the people can help you, whether it's guide you towards counseling or it's getting you into a safe place where you're not on walking on eggshells all the time. They can do this. It's woman, WOMAN space SPACE, and it's an organization. I think it's all across America, so you can look that up. There's another thing too. You can go to the police station and find out what resources they have, and they have very many resources. Some people don't want to go to the police. You can go, but if you're in a dangerous situation, go so you be in protection. Um, Another thing too is if you're trying to get out of a relationship and it's a bad one, you do not want to tell people your plan. If it's that person's best friend, you definitely don't want to tell that person's best friend exactly what you're going to do. It's like having a strategy, and then you're going to go for what you got to go, but they're going to tell you, you got to get your documents. So maybe put your, um, this guy's a freaking weirdo. You're just such a freaking weirdo. Ah, weirdo. Go clean your own house, okay? Yeah, you're probably a weirdo. Cleaning gloves. Why don't you go to the store? I don't have a store on my channel. Why don't you go to the store and buy some rubber gloves? It's just distraction. It's the enemy. This is probably the people that's domestic violence abuser. You know, Back in the day, it was really hard for women and men to get help because it was just work it out, whatever, just live in hell. No, that's not the way it is now. We can get help, the help we need. But the thing is, if you find yourself in a dangerous situation, you definitely want to have your documents, no matter. Yeah, I hit him too. He's a weirdo. I'm just not putting up with that. It's the enemy. This guy's, I don't know how he got back on here because I hid that guy anyways. But like if you always want to have documents, so you need a social card. You need at least some kind of ID for your face, right? You need a photo identification. You're going to need a social security card or your visa, whatever you have, maybe a green card, something. But as long as you have an ID with your face on it and that may be one piece of mail, and you're going to need your birth certificate, put that into a fire safe. Maybe you can even put it in your car. Get this stuff prepared, because the day that you leave, you do not want to say, if this is what you're preparing to do, you don't want to tell people. It doesn't matter if it's that person's best friend or whatever. Don't post it online. You have to do it and do it like quietly. I don't know if you ever watched Sleeping with the Enemy or something like that. um what was her name? I can't remember her name, but she wound Julia Roberts. She took swimming lessons because she was stuck and she was in this abusive relationship, but she wound up learning how to take swimming lessons, and he took her on the boat, and she wound up jumping out the boat and swimming for her life. Now, I don't, it was in the ocean, but she was preparing for her escape for a while. But I would say, like, if you're in that situation, don't wait years and years. Get out while you can. Um, Also, the hospital, the kids' school, you can also go to too. You can get help there. People are going to look out for you. If you need help, there is help available. Um, the hospital is a wonderful place because they can help you, they can guide you, and that's really the resources I know. But almost every place of like the library, the hospital, the school, these are good businesses where you can get the proper help because they have the resources, so they'll know what to do. They can call people, social workers, like Catholic charities or church. You could go to church if you're in church and you're in this kind of situation. Talk to somebody confidentially. Obviously, if your husband or your boyfriend is involved in the church and they're best friends with that is not a place that you really want to go to, because they're going to be more on the other person's side. You need to go to somebody that is going to view it, as your situation. And that's all I really know. But safety is the most paramount. And like I said, it's a beautiful thing that we do have freedom and we don't have to stay in these situations. And I know the hardest thing to do is to reach out for help over anything. But once you get there, you're going to have to process a lot of stuff. It's like when we go through this stuff, you are going to have to process these pains and the scars because it leaves scars. Abuse, whether emotional or domestic, it leaves scars. And but there's help out there. We have good therapists. It's painful processing it, but once you get past that, it's gonna be those roots that have tried to grow a tree, they're gonna be chopped down. And this is from the Children's Hospital. They this Somebody made this. They want, how they send you the thing. I think this is from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. They send you the cards. Isn't that beautiful? I want to give to them. But these children are very sick, you know, but they're just beautiful spirits. Um, so that's what I wanted to share. I don't know why I got on here, but what is Christine? The QT gas stations have safe rooms for you if you need to immediately run from an abuser. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, we never know, you just never know. And a lot of people, they put on a good front, and it's almost like you're helpless. Truckers also, you can ask a trucker too, and they can help you. We have trafficking too. I mean, we're supposed to be trained to spot like trafficking and stuff, because human trafficking is going on all over across the country, especially in the United States. But it's almost like a lot of people miss this signal, so they're trying to train us to spot, human trafficking, and it can happen in all industries. But New Jersey is like a sanctuary state where that's why they did it, so people can't traffic other people. But I don't know what's going on. So it's called Truckers Against Trafficking (TAT), and you can get trained in that too. And it's anybody that's in like the industry for like hospitality and stuff like that. You can actually go online, and it's like you could get trained to spot this stuff. And when you look on there, you're going to be surprised what is signs of trafficking. Like, I mean, human trafficking, like when you see it. But this is like a real touchy subject, but it's a real subject that's going on, but it's not really talked about too much. But hospitality workers, I think, are trained in, this stuff. But I don't know. That's all I really can share with you. If you have anything else, like Christina says, some of the gas stations have safe rooms now. She's down in Texas. I'm in Jersey. But like I said, those places, if you really are in that situation, I know women's space is a place, but if you can't, if you, they have the exploit hotline or something. You can call that one. I don't, 1-800 the lost. And I think that also, I think you can get into, if you're being exploited, or if you're in that kind of situation, they definitely can get you to where you gotta be, you know, because we have people, the eyes, you have the, like Batman, he's watching. You have police that are watching, good police. You have the FBI, the CIA, the all these different agencies, church organizations, women's space, and they're there to protect you and your children. Homefront is another organization, and they're really a good organization. I don't, it's in New Jersey. It's a homeless shelter, but it's a really nice one. They have like art program and stuff. They have childcare, and they really help you get on your feet, because a lot of these women are coming. A lot of the women, sometimes the partner, just walks out and they're left to raise the kids by themselves. But thank God we have help, right? Well, like I said, the hardest thing is to reach out, and if you ever need help, you can. I Christina has an email. You can email her, maybe Christina. I don't know, or you can. I don't put my email here because I don't know if I'm going to get a spam, but you can always leave in the comments, and Whatever you need help with, I'll help you. Okay? So I hope this helped you if you're in a situation. And just know that people really care. There is loving, caring people, whatever situation you may be in, but there is loving, caring people, and I'm one of them. Maybe I don't know you personally, but I don't want to see anybody in a bad situation. All right? So God bless you. Have a wonderful night and take care. Thank you, Christina, for coming in.